Well, we're gonna light this up and try and make a video of this rocket stove design here. You want to get your wood laid in there crisscross, get it ready to light. I don't use paper straw, which I'll show you why. It's a pretty windy day here, but I'm going to show you how I light these things. I just take cardboard strips and soak them in paraffin wax. Pretty easy process, and I find they light these rocket stoves pretty good. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this lit because of the wind around here today, but I thought so. Try it again. Once it gets going, it lights pretty good. Like I say, with the wind and everything, these will burn for 3-4 minutes with 2 of them. And I just shove this underneath my firebox. I don't know if you can see it too good here with this camera angle, but it really doesn't take too long to get it going. They've got those burning. They're right underneath the fire grate, and see how it's starting to come up through the wood. Like I say, I don't use paper and straw and twigs and stuff like that. I just found out these fire starters really work pretty good for what they do. This is still just that one piece. I mean, it's a good flame. You can see how good this works. It's once the wind stops here, and this will probably burn for 2, almost 3 minutes with just one piece like this. So, pretty cheap alternative to lighting your rocket stove. Well, that's getting going. I'll just do a little walk through here. Close this down. Well, I got this box here I put on here, and it's got the firewood pieces and stuff. Put my matches and my little fire starters that I use. These basically these cardboard strips. Dang it. Just use this little tray paraffin wax and heat that up, melt, and I take the cardboard strips and just go and cut them and drop them in there, let them soak real quick, take them out, drip them, then I put them on a cardboard plate around the edge, and it keeps them till they dry, cool off. It costs pennies to make these things, if that, and like I say, you'll see how good this is starting here. I mean, that's all that was this. I could pull it out right now, and it's still going. I mean, these things work pretty good. Dump him back in there. Close the lid, and put a double heat shield on this thing so that it wouldn't melt this plastic box once it gets going and everything. Seems to work pretty good. Again, you can see in here, this damper door here, put a spring on it, keep some tension on it. It's a side view of it. Back view, you'll see on this oven that I designed this so that it would basically vent most of the smoke out the back end. It's channeled so that the smoke kind of stays around the outer edge and then goes out this. It's a little windy today, so it's not perfect. Before this gets too hot, I'll show you this ash door in the back. Kind of the design that I made this just works out better this way. This comes completely out, and it's a great system. I had something different in the beginning. I just had holes drilled through this bottom air tube, and it really didn't work out well. I'll explain that why later, but this works out good here. Just change it every time. Close it. Secondary air holes that I put in here so that it would kind of clean up the exhaust, give it a little more oxygen on the way up the chimney, burn a little more cleaner. So once this gets going a little better, I'd filmed this earlier in the day, and this oven, first time I tried it out, I built it for a Lodge cast iron Dutch oven, fits in here. So it's got handles, it's pretty heavy, it's 1/8" steel. I put a vent tube on here so any steam and condensate would be able to escape. It's got 1/2" angle round for the edge, and this is the cast iron thing that fits in there, Dutch oven. But this gets pretty hot. I had it up over 400 degrees today. Had a thermometer in it, and my tape started coming loose on this. So I'm going to skin this with aluminum coil stock all the way around, rivet it in the back, and just make this surface a little more durable. This is double foil faced insulation product. It's a cloth, like a recycled cloth fiber stuff on the inside. It's not that bubble wrap stuff that'll melt. You don't want to use that. So I put double layers of that on this, and it seems to retain the heat pretty good. So, and I got that made this primarily for in the winter time. It starts getting below zero. It's like 30 degrees right now, but gets 0 degrees out. It's not going to cook on just the stovetop portion of this that I'll show you in a second. I'm going to check the temperature. This thing's pegged out over 220, and I just put it in there probably 5 minutes ago. Basically, it's just going down the vent hole. Where the hell is that? Yeah, I put another thermometer inside of here. I want to see what, it went up to a higher range. I want to see what we're hitting at on that. Okay, almost 350. Of course, you see how fast it's dropping from me taking it out of the box. But that's just sitting in there like that. As you can see, this gets going pretty good, and this is just the stovetop way that you can use this thing. This lifts up if you ever had to load something down in there, but it's going pretty good actually. A little windy today, so I was getting some backdraft on this a little bit, but it roars pretty good once it's going. They say the Dutch oven can just be put right on top the stovetop part and used that way in the summer. I'm sure it'll work fine. I don't like the direct heat right on the bottom of it. It might burn some things, so I'm probably going to use the oven more than not. And but it's handy. And damper this thing down. Pull that flame down a little bit, slow it up. It's not so intense. You don't, once you get it going, you don't need that damper really open that much. Just a windy day today. See a little better now how these secondary air intake holes kind of help to clean up the flame, add a little more oxygen to the mix. This is the bottom of the oven. I welded some nuts on there to space it up off the crossbar so the flame could travel better, and some tabs to hold it in place, and I welded some plate around the outside to kind of duct that exhaust out the back so it's not in your face, but when you're outside on a windy day, anything goes. Found out the hard way, you have to have a big enough grate system for the burnt wood pieces to be able to fall through your grate and not block your airflow up through the chimney. I had to retrofit this one in after I had this thing built, so it's not the best in the world, but it works pretty good now. This is what I had originally. I had just drilled holes down to the bottom air intake tube and welded everything on top of it, but it they plug when the wood would break down and the coals would lay there, it plugged the holes and I lost my airflow. So I went with this system. I see a lot of other rocket stove designs like to go with a grate plate set at a 45, but it really doesn't give any place for your ash and your charcoal pieces to fall to without plugging the air intake holes. So that's why I designed it this way, that they would just drop down into my ash tray.